This is the Louis T Network.
Me, your man, Louis T. Welcome to my 2017 NFL Scouting Combine coverage, wall-to-wall coverage of this year's Scouting Combine here on the Louis T Network. I told you that I would give you a breakdown each and every single day of the Scouting Combine. On the field drills, day one featured the offensive line and the running backs. Also, specialists were there, but again, who gives a damn about the specialists? We're talking offensive linemen and running backs. I think we got exactly what we expected out of the offensive line group, but there were some surprises in the running back department. We'll talk about that a little bit later on, but first, let's start with the offensive line, as this is a group that I talked about in my guide to the Scouting Combine that not going to really wow you this season, this year in particular, in this year's draft. It's not a very rich group. There's not depth throughout, especially at the tackle position. Maybe some guards could arise and be some gems in this draft, but particularly this is not a very athletic crop. These guys aren't going to jump off the screen at you with footwork or anything of the sort. This isn't a technician draft like a few years ago when Taylor Lewan and company, Jake Matthews and all those behemoths were up there, but they were all athletic and we were all in awe of what they were able to do. That's not what you're getting here, but I thought the guys that needed to come out and produce did exactly that and separated themselves from the rest of the pack. And so I got my notes in front of me, and I'll talk about the guys that we knew coming in were going to be the headliners along the offensive line at the Combine. Garrett Bowles out of Utah, offensive tackle, ran a 4.95 40. Again, the 40 not that big of a deal for an offensive lineman, but what is that 10-second split, 1.71, one of the best ones of the day for the offensive line. His broad jump, 9.7, the third best since 2006. So this is a very athletic guy. I was blown away because I haven't watched any tape on Garrett Bowles yet, but I saw the footwork. The guy was clean all day long. He's got some sweet feet, folks. And so if the feet match up and the athleticism that I saw at the Combine on Friday in day one matches with what I see on tape, then I'm convinced that this guy's probably going to be one of the first tackles taken off the board in this draft. And he's probably going to be a first-round pick because of what I saw at the Combine today. And I'm thinking that with all the hoopla surrounding this guy coming in, there are some off-the-field red flag and some questions that he'll have to answer going through the process. He's only a one-year starter, been to 5 different schools, so there's some background information that has to be done here on Garrett Bowles, but make no mistake about it, he's athletically gifted, and you saw that in day one of the Combine. Ryan Ramczyk, another guy that we think is going to be one of the high-level tackles in this draft out of Wisconsin, did not perform at the Combine. Hip surgery recently, that kept him out of the Combine. So we were missing one of the big guys that's going to come off the board relatively early in this draft at the Combine. But of the guys that were there, Forrest Lamp, offensive tackle at Western Kentucky. A lot of people, because of his shorter arms and his size, think he's going to kick inside the guard and be a damn good one. Mike Mayock was gushing about him all day long, and for good reason. A 5 flat 40, 1.75 on the 10-second split, 34 reps of 2 1/4, and he was moving all day long with the best of them. I talked about Garrett Bowles and his mobility. I think that Forrest Lamp is right there neck and neck with him, and so I think that the comparisons to Zach Martin aren't far off. They showed some clips. Again, I haven't watched a lot of his tape. I did watch him against Alabama, though, coincidentally, watching one of his teammates and Taywan Taylor. So I did actually see him indirectly. This guy's a good football player, and I think if he's going to make that transition, and maybe a team takes him and wants him to stay at tackle, but the prevailing thought is that he's going to move to guard, and he looks like he could be a damn good one. The footwork, the movement, the change of direction, everything was fluid from Forrest Lamp all day long. Another guy that I thought helped himself in day one of the combine. And then finally, offensive tackle Cam Robinson out of Alabama, a guy that a lot of people are mixed on in terms of tackle guard at the next level. I side with Mike Mayock. I think he's a little too inconsistent outside to be a tackle, but maybe he'll get his act together. And maybe he's just not a left tackle. Maybe he's supposed to be more of a right tackle at the next level. We'll see. Maybe more in the role of Andre, the tackle that played for the Cincinnati Bengals. I think he reminds me a lot of him in his movement skills. So maybe that's where he'll be at the next level. Either way, guard, tackle. I thought he moved well for his size. I ran a 5'1", 5'40", but a 1.78 10-second split. I thought he had some really good movement. We knew he was good athletically when he was at Alabama, and all he did was go out and reinforce that on the day. I thought he performed well. And so all of the high-level quality offensive linemen in this draft went out and did what we expected them to do. And so I thought it was a really solid day by the offensive linemen. But after the guys that we know of, I thought the athleticism waned. There wasn't anyone that jumped off the screen. There were a couple of guys that did, however, run fast times. But for the most part, this was a relatively slow group. But just because you're not fast doesn't mean you're not good. And so speed doesn't always translate to skill. So we'll see what happens with this offensive line group. But just telling you off of first blush, not a lot of guys that jump off the screen that make you want to go and put on a couple of games to watch them to see if what you saw in terms of athleticism matches what you see on the game film. Let's move on to the running back position. And this was the main attraction of the day. We knew this draft in particular, you know, the running back position hasn't offered us a lot of first-round jewels and gems of late. You may get one here or there like last year with Ezekiel Elliott, but for the most part, you don't have multiple guys that we think can go in the first round. This draft offers up at least 3, possibly 4, if you want to throw in Alvin Kamara, and I thought this was going to be a big day for him. And we'll talk about Kamara and some of the other guys at the combine at the running back position. But we're going to start with the big names. We're going to start with Leonard Fournette, who showed up a little heavy, which surprised a lot of people. A guy that at LSU played at around 225, 230, showed up at the combine at 240, reminiscent of last year's second-round pick out of Alabama in Derrick Henry. Remember, he showed up a little heavy at the combine at 247, but still went out and ran like a 4.53 or so. And so no one really cared because we were all in awe of how big this guy was, but how fast he turned out to be. And with Leonard Fournette, it still rang true. You're going to be 240. I was expecting him to show up at about 227, 230 and run about a 4.47. That's what I was expecting. He showed up at 240 and ran a 4.51. So, I mean, what can you do? His vertical garnered a lot of attention. One of the worst verticals ever at the combine for a running back, 28.5-inch vert. And again, who gives a damn, okay? One general manager talked to one of the reporters, and he tweeted out, I talked to a GM who said, who gives a F about his vertical leap? No one gives a damn. No one cares about his vertical. You know, vertical leap usually translates to explosion. We know that this guy's an explosive football player. We've seen him for numerous years at LSU do what it is he does best. No one's worried about the vertical leap. I just thought that he would come in better shape. He said it was a water weight gain. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. He said he has no problem getting rid of the weight. It's just, again, you know what? You had time. You didn't play in the bowl game because you were preparing for the combine. How are you going to show up 10 pounds overweight? It just doesn't make sense to me. But in any event, he still ran really fast for his size. And so Leonard Fournette, I actually thought he caught the football well. Did look stiff at times, but I mean, he's a big upright back. What do you expect? I thought he looked solid all day long. And so I thought he went out and really pretty much solidified himself as the #1 back in this draft. I don't even know if he has to run his 40 again at the LSU Pro Day. If he's fine with the 4.51, I don't think anybody's going to question him on that. So we'll see what he decides to do. But the big story for him, 240 pounds. What are you really? Are you a 240-pound back? Or are you a 230-pound back? I think we all know the answer to that. I think he's a 230-pound back, 225-pound back. And I think those 10 to 12 to 15 extra pounds are going to come off by the time he hits that LSU Pro Day. Dalvin Cook, the next guy in line, if you're talking running backs in this draft, I think everyone has him either 1 or 2 on their board in terms of backs in this draft. And he went out and ran a 4.49. I actually thought he was going to run faster, to be honest with you. I thought he was going to run somewhere in the 4.45, 4.42 range. And he ran a 4.49, but it's sub 4.5. 22 reps of 2.25 shows you how physical that this guy can be. I was a little disappointed in his ability to catch the ball, though. I thought he struggled in the pass catching drills to catch the football cleanly. There were several drops throughout the day. We know he can catch the football. I was thinking maybe it was nerves, but he didn't go out and showcase the skill set that we know he possesses to catch the football. And I'm pretty sure he's going to clean that up at his pro day, be a lot better. But he was not all that impressive in that department on this day. So I walked away a little disappointed. Not going to lie to you, a little disappointed in Dalvin Cook's performance. But again, I walked away last year very disappointed in Jordan Howard's performance at the Combine. I killed him after his Combine performance, and look at the season he turned in for the Chicago Bears as a rookie. So you don't want to make too much of what you see at the Combine, but again, I didn't think that he was all that impressive. I thought he was going to light it up, and I didn't think he lit it up at the Combine in day #1. Christian McCaffrey, speaking of a guy lighting it up, did light it up. I thought by far and away he was the best running back at the Combine athletically. I told you that I expected him to showcase the skills that would separate him from everyone else in this draft as a pass catcher. He was by far and away the best pass catcher of the running backs, snatching the football out of the air. They put him in some receiver drills. He looked phenomenal. They had him returning punts and catching and fielding punts. This guy's going to be a weapon. If the right team selects him, we better hope and pray the Patriots don't get their hands on this kid, because if they do, he's going to be a match-up nightmare for years to come. If he goes to the right team, he's going to be a problem, because he caught the football. He ran so fluidly. He cut on a dime. His agility is off the charts. He ran a sub 4.5. And I told you, if you want to shed the white running back label, go out and run a sub 4.5. He ran a 4.48. So he checked that box off. 10 reps of 2.25. He was struggling. And that's something we questioned. Can he run in between the tackles? That didn't do anything to help us answer that question. But at the end of the day, he was phenomenal. I walked away very impressed with Christian McCaffrey. I knew I was going to be impressed by him catching the football and doing all the things, and I still was impressed. Even though I already knew what this guy brought to the table, I thought he was the best running back in the running back group on day 1 of the Combine. Alvin Kamara was a guy that was garnering a lot of attention. His name was really shooting up draft boards. A lot of people excited about what he potentially could bring to the table. 4.53 40 for Alvin Kamara. Wasn't all that blown away by his speed. 39.5-inch vert, though, lets you know this guy does possess explosion. And I think he's probably, much like Leonard Fournette, faster during the game than he is just running in a straight line at the Combine. So would not shock me in the least if at Tennessee's Pro Day he runs his 40 again, and voila, what do you know, he runs a 4.46 or a 4.45. It wouldn't shock me in the least, because that vertical leap tells me that this guy is very explosive. And I saw that throughout the day at times, a lot of quick bursts and acceleration. Thought he caught the football solidly. Didn't think he was great. There were some drops. So I think there's some work to be done there from Kamara, but I know he can catch the football as well. So I think some guys have some work to do, but that's why you come out and compete at the Combine, because it gives you a second bite at the apple, a second crack at this thing. And so you go to your pro day, you sleep in your bed, you get a good night's rest, you come out and you kill it at your pro day, and all is forgiven what you did at the combine. But his combine wasn't terrible. I just didn't walk away blown away by his performance in day one. South Florida's Marlon Mack is a guy that I told you that you needed to watch, and he ran a 4.5 flat. I thought he looked good all day long. Thought he showed some explosion. I thought he caught the football well. He moved well. I told you, you're not going to get your hands on Dalvin Cook if you're in the second round looking for a back, but you can get your hands on Marlon Mack, and I think he's a very serviceable alternate to a guy like Dalvin Cook. Gives you a little bit more size, a little bit more physicality, and I think that Marlon Mack is a guy that could potentially come off the board in the second round, and I thought he helped himself at the combine. Another guy that I really liked, and I watched quite a few of his games at Utah, is Joe Williams. The only thing that kind of scared me is anytime I hear a guy talking about retirement and actually goes out and retires temporarily, I get scared. I get nervous, and I'm like, hey, do you really love the game of football? I don't know. But what he did at Utah was remarkable. I watched a couple of those games where he went off on some teams. What he did was nothing short of remarkable, coming back and running for over 100 yards in about 5 or 6 straight games and just destroying some teams, helping Utah have a big season. I thought he came out, really helped himself. 4.4, 140, one of the faster running back times that we saw in day one. 35-inch vert, 10.5 broad jump. The guy is just oozing and dripping with explosiveness. You saw it on the day, him changing directions, cutting, and then getting back to top speed in about 2 or 3 steps. Joe Williams looked good. I thought he caught the football well. I think he's going to be a guy to keep your eye on. I don't know if he's a natural hands catcher or not. I kind of asked myself that. I'm going to have to watch some of his games and see a little bit more if he can catch it naturally out of the backfield. Saw a lot of body catches, but the ball did not hit the ground very often when it was thrown in his direction. I just thought he had a phenomenal day. A guy that I didn't know anything about coming into the combine, and you get these guys every single year. Last year, I'm going to tell you the comparison that I have for him, and this is a similar guy that came in, ran fast, similar body type, and I walked away saying, wow, I want to see this guy, and they hyped him up, so I really want to watch him now, is Tariq Cohen, a guy out of North Carolina A&T, short stature guy, 5'6", 175 pounds, ran a 4.42. They call him the human joystick. That's his nickname. I thought he ran extremely well, changed directions, showed explosiveness. They said this guy is one of those players that just loves to make guys miss out in space. Reminds me a lot of what I saw out of Tyler Ervin last year. Remember the San Jose State product that was drafted by the Houston Texans last year in around the 4th or 5th round. He reminds me a lot of Tyler Ervin, a small stature guy that can run the football, had big numbers at school, and he's going to get an opportunity. Someone's going to give this young man an opportunity. I can't wait to watch his tape. Daniel Jeremiah and Mike Mayock both had me really salivating to watch his tape because they said it was so much fun because this guy is always looking to hit a home run on every single play, cutting and reversing field and doing all types of things. So can't wait to watch him. I thought he was a guy that I think with his speed, his change of direction, and the things that he brought to the table at the combine in day one, he's going to force some general managers to go and put some tapes on and watch him and see if he's worthy of their draft selection. And then just a little note, a tidbit, Deontay Freeman, a guy that I told you, or Foreman, excuse me, a guy that I told you I'm not that high on out of Texas. He's a bigger back, ran for a ton of yards this year. It was discovered that he had a stress fracture in his foot at the combine, going through the medical process, wasn't able to perform at the combine. You never like to hear that, especially this time of the year, because that late of a detection means he's not probably going to be able to compete in a pro day, probably not going to be able to set up a private workout before the draft. You're just going to have to draft this kid off of what you see on tape, and that's always scary and dangerous for evaluators. And so unless you know for sure what you're getting, and I myself am not sure about Deontay Foreman, I think that's a little bit of a scary proposition for some teams now. So we'll see what happens with him. You never want to hear that for a guy, but he did not participate in the combine. And I was looking forward to seeing how fast he would run and how well he would move and how if he could even catch the football, because I don't recall seeing him catch it very often other than the screen game at Texas. So Joe Mixon, of course, another hot topic of discussion, not invited to the combine. I've already heard that at least 3 teams have completely taken him off the board, haven't even watched any tapes of him, don't plan on watching anything either, not even considering him on their draft board. So that's the risk you run when you do what he did, but someone's going to take Joe Mixon. He's a talented football player, and much like Frank Clark, once he gets drafted, there's going to be a little bit of hoopla. You're going to hear some rumblings and grumblings, and then 6 weeks into the season, you won't hear about it anymore. So he'll be drafted. It's just a matter of when, not if, for Joe Mixon. So that's day one in a nutshell. The running backs, little, I don't want to say disappointing, because I thought that some guys went out and did some things and helped themselves. But some of these top name guys, I wasn't overly impressed. I wasn't blown away. I thought Dalvin Cook would perform better. I thought Alvin Kamara would look better. I actually thought Leonard Fournette would come in lighter and run faster, and he didn't. But with that being said, Christian McCaffrey, I thought he helped himself. I thought Joe Williams helped himself. I thought a guy like Marlon Mack helped himself. Even a guy that I just mentioned in Tariq Cohen helped himself. So I thought guys went out and performed well enough to turn some heads and give themselves a chance. And so that's my day one combine coverage. There were a number of other guys that were there, including Pitt's running back, James Conner. We know about his story. They talked about him several times during the telecast, but he ran extremely slow. But I think we kind of expected that. I was really disappointed in Anthony Clement's time. He ran in the 4.6s, thought he would be in the 4.5 range somewhere. So there were some other guys there of note. Samaje Perine, another guy that I knew he wasn't going to run very fast, but I didn't expect him to run in the 4.6s. He did that as well. So there were a number of guys there, but like I said, none of them really stood out from the rest of the pack, other than the ones that I've already talked about. So that's going to do it for day one. I'll be back for day two, and that's going to be a biggie. That's probably going to be the best day of the combine. It's probably going to rival that of day 3 with the defensive line and the edge rushers. They're going to be phenomenal. Hell, I take that back, because day 4 is going to be a hell of a day as well with the safeties and corners. So many athletes there as well. So day 2 is going to be probably the biggest in terms of fanfare and hoopla, because the quarterbacks are there, the receivers are there. Mike Williams already said he's not going to run. I think the receiver position lost its luster. He's not going to run the 40. You're not going to see John Ross. He's out with an injury. You're not going to see Corey Davis. He's out with an injury. So really the receiver position has been ravaged by injury. And then the only big name that is participating, not going to run the 40, which tells me he's not fast. The same thing that we saw last year out of the receiver out of Ole Miss, Laquan Treadwell, when he didn't run at the combine last year, because he knew he wasn't fast. Same thing with Mike Williams. He's given us the excuse, oh, it's so close to the national championship game, I haven't had time to prepare. Prepare for what? You're running in a straight line for 40 yards, which tells me he's slow, which we already know. We already know. You don't got to run from us. You don't got to hide from us. You're going to run a 4.58 at your pro day. We're fine with that. Go run it at the combine. You don't like your time, you improve upon it at your pro day. I don't understand why guys do this, but in any event, he's not running. We'll see what happens tomorrow. I will see you tomorrow. Remember, if it happens in the National Football League, whether big or small, we cover it all here on the Louis T Network. Remember, we're changing the game one live feed at a time. Even though this isn't live, we're changing the game anyway. I will see you tomorrow. Have a good one. Take care. And remember, I'm watching this, so you don't have to. See you tomorrow.